So good afternoon, everyone. This is Audrey Russo, President and CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Welcome to Business as Usual. We have another great guest today, Teresa Huber. She's President and CEO of Intervala, LLC. In a moment, I'll more formally introduce her, but I want to give a shout out to Huntington Bank, thanking them for the partnership and support that they've provided us as we've entered our 11th month of doing these daily shows. And it seems like we never run out of great people to talk with, and today is no exception. Also, 40 by 80, it's the wholly owned subsidiary of the Pittsburgh Tech Council. We focus on workforce development and entrepreneurship. And you'll hear a little bit more about some of the work coming out of that organization very soon. So now I'm going to bring up Teresa Huber, President and CEO of Intervala, LLC. And if you don't know her, this is going to be a treat for all of you. And if you do know her, you'll be happy to hear from her as well. So Teresa, I hope that you are staying warm and safe. I know that you're busy. I know that for a fact, but I hope that your health is good and you're warm and safe. And thank you for taking the time with us today.
Absolutely. No, all is well. And thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it, Audrey.
No, absolutely. Listen, before we start, talking about your company, I want to jump in a little bit in terms of your background, your professional and academic background. It's very interesting because you have a long background in electronics and electromechanical operations and production, and you have a master's degree, I believe, from Carnegie Mellon, an MBA in operations, and also, I think, an undergraduate in electro and mechanical, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I did my research and I saw, wow, she really got focused in terms of her academic career. So could you talk about that? Like how that started, what prompted you?
Sure. So my undergrad is actually electrical engineering, so very close. Okay. And, it's interesting. I chose electrical engineering as my undergrad really after spending time working with my father, who worked in a manufacturing company, and he took me, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So it's not like I've always wanted to do this, but he took me to work with him one day because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. He put me with the engineering team. I liked it. And I just said, okay, yeah, that's great. I mean, I've always been a math and science person, but after I went to work with him that day, I came home and said, yeah, I'm going to be an engineer. So it was just that straightforward and simple.
Where did he work?
He worked at PPG Industries. So he was in the purchasing group, but he hooked me up with the engineers.
Good for you. So what about, so then you got a master's degree, right, in operations?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So, I loved engineering. I really liked the technical aspect, but I think my aspiration, my true dream from the time I was really young was to run a company. And so, I viewed engineering as a great field, but I kind of always viewed it as a way to get into a technical role and then run a company. So the master's at Carnegie Mellon was great. It taught me a lot about running a business, about the business side of things. And so I was working actually for Westinghouse right out of undergrad, and went to Carnegie Mellon at night, got my degree while I was working. And then as part of that program, they introduce you to different aspects of business, and manufacturing just really, I guess, piqued my interest. I liked the idea that I could see, I could put my hands on something. And so I kind of selected manufacturing from that point on. And then my career really kind of, started as a production supervisor, and kind of worked my way up from there.
Wow. So you are born and bred in Pittsburgh?
Not really. I was actually born in West Virginia, but so not too far from the Pittsburgh area. But we moved when I was, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. So I would say this is my home. I've been here most of my life. Spent a couple of years out in the Harrisburg area working for Quaker Oats, but most of my time has been here.
Wow. What did you do at Quaker Oats?
Production management. So after I graduated from Carnegie Mellon, like I said, I really wanted to do manufacturing, and I wanted to learn it from the ground up. So I took a production supervisory role, learned, kind of the ropes, if you will, from the ground up, and then just kind of progressed on the eastern side of the state in Harrisburg. And then when Sony announced that they were going to be locating here in the Westmoreland County region in the early, I guess it was early 90s, I was so interested in that. I thought I got to be part of that. It just like it was right up my alley. So I applied and I was picked to be one of the startup team members. So I started with Sony back in 92 and spent about 10 years there.
Wow. And then from Sony, where did you go?
So from Sony was when I kind of made the leap from being on kind of the OEM side, right, where we develop our own products and everything, into contract manufacturing, which is really what Intervala is and what I've been in since I guess 2002. So I left Sony in 2002 to join Pinnacle Electronics, which was a independent contract manufacturing company here in the Pittsburgh region, and then ultimately, we were purchased by Labarge, and then all of Labarge was acquired by Ducommun, and that kind of begins the history of, I guess, where I landed back here with Intervala.
And so you've been at the helm of Intervala now for how long?
So Intervala has existed as Intervala for 5 years. We actually just had our 5-year anniversary. And so I've been at the helm since the inception. And then prior to that, as part of the Ducommun and Labarge organizations, I ran their one of their divisions for them and had plants kind of all over the United States doing very similar things to what we do at Intervala.
So let's just talk about Intervala. Let's talk about what you make, what you do, and give everyone an idea of what that means.
Sure. So as I said, we're a contract manufacturing company. So really what that means in a nutshell is that we are kind of the manufacturing and oftentimes kind of engineering support, supply chain support arm for customers that decide they want to really focus on their core competencies. So, customers who want to do their own product development, they'll do their sales and marketing, typically. They brand their product, they own that IP, but we are their manufacturing arm. And so, as kind of companies have developed, many of them, realize that it's pretty significant investment to keep making in your company to continue manufacturing and having that kind of engineering, technical support, everything that takes, the equipment, all of that. So, that's really where we come in. And we can serve that, role for them. What we make typically are electronic or electromechanical products. That can be, some examples of that would be cataract surgery equipment for a medical customer. We make some respiratory products, which, are doing great right now, thanks to COVID. We do factory automation, robotics. We do defense work as well. We're working with some of the kind of leading edge automotive folks, some of the self-driving applications. So really a wide variety of products. I think the common thread is that our products are technical, they're complex. Usually they have some specific regulatory approvals that, that we have to, make sure we can adhere to, strict quality requirements, things like that. So, but we make a lot of different products, as long as they're, like I said, the key common thread is that they're usually pretty complex.
And they're electric. They're electromechanical, right?
They are. Now I will say we make some things that are purely mechanical, metal on metal. But most of our products are either electronics or have some component of electronics along with some mechanical pieces. Think a robot, just in general terms, they've got kind of all of those different pieces.
So can you tease us with any of your customers, like who they are? Can you share?
Yeah, I can. I can share some of them. We don't share unless, the customer approves. On our website, there are some customer testimonials, so if they're on the website, then, that's kind of an okay one. So Drive DeVilbiss Healthcare is one. They're up in the Somerset area. We also do work for Applied Materials, which is a very large semiconductor capital equipment company. Probably heard of them, publicly traded. Bausch and Lomb, which is obviously a medical company, is another one. So those are kind of a few names, I guess.
And so how do you manage the operations of having such diverse production? So what's your secret sauce there? Because typically you want repetition, and what you just described is not repetition.
Yeah, it's totally the opposite. Exactly. So we kind of think of ourselves as I don't know, we're just kind of a bunch of mini job shops, if you will, inside of, the factories. So, I mean, the secret in a nutshell, I'm going to go back to, what I've said anytime I get the opportunity, is our culture, which is really all around our people. So if you're going to, do what we do, which is really provide a custom product for every customer that has different requirements. They have different problems that need solved. They have different regulatory requirements. You better have a really good team that knows what they're doing and is really committed and very dedicated. And, we do.
How many people work for you now?
So we're over 300. We have our location here, which is we're now in the Westmoreland County area. And then we have a location in the New England region as well, where we do manufacturing. So we're kind of manufacturing and headquarters here, and then also a manufacturing facility up in New England. And so between the two, we're over 300 employees and over 270,000 square feet of space that we occupy.
And the New England one, was that an acquisition?
Yes. So we actually did 2 acquisitions in the New Hampshire area. And kind of the 2 of them together, we kind of merged and formed our New England manufacturing kind of complex.
So let's think about these last, I'm going to say 18 months, maybe, right? Maybe 17 months. You've actually gone through, just it's COVID. There was, you needed to change your location due to, some water damage. And, you've just been through so much, and yet you haven't skipped a beat. Everyone worked in the office. And if people don't know that Teresa has been, nominated, awarded for her work in culture and for her leadership of her team. And this is hard for her to even talk about herself. So I'm thrilled to be able to have this opportunity to shine the light. But you've been through a lot through this last year plus. And not that anyone else hasn't, but you had to lift up and pick your facility up and figure out where you were going to go. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, so it was Christmas Eve of 2019, right? So just about 14 months or so ago, that there was, we were located in East Pittsburgh, had a fairly large footprint there, and about 135,000 square feet, multi-story building that we leased. And there was a significant water pipe incident on Christmas Eve, and literally hundreds of thousands of gallons of water poured through the facility. The break occurred on the 3rd floor, so the water poured down to the bottom. And so, we were faced with, a significant, obviously, event. And so, at that point, again, I think you have to just, I think as I look back, it was such an opportunity, though, for us to demonstrate our culture really in action. So, within days, we had a plan. I do need to give a shout out to, the RIDC, Don Smith, Dennis Joyce. I mean, they were great to work with. Basically identified the Westmoreland facility, and we started moving. So our people just jumped in, literally worked day and night, 24/7, and we had to take everything out of the East Pittsburgh facility. There was no power, no working elevators, so no heat. No lighting other than emergency lighting. And so we had to rig it all out the side of the building, move all the equipment, get everything kind of relocated, get the Westmoreland facility outfitted, all the electrical, needed run. I mean, it was just a tremendous amount of effort. And all of that happened, and we produced and shipped our first product out of the new location 3 weeks after the incident, which, yeah, I mean, I just think is unbelievable. And it's absolutely a testament to the Intervala team, the people, our culture. Is at the end of the day, if you go back and think about what it is that we do. So in many cases, we are the manufacturing location for our customers. So if we don't produce for them, they are really severely impacted. So they were great to work with. We worked with all of our customers, prioritized shipment schedules, everything. And we were back in operation very, very quickly. And again, I think it's the culture. It's everybody knows, we only succeed if our customers succeed. So, you do what you got to do. And that's what the team did.
Wow. Right at Christmas, right at the time of your holiday break.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
here you are, then you get up and running, and you do have a clean room, right? Didn't you have a clean room?
We have a small clean room. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So we have, and we basically relocated the clean room, got everything up and running. Yeah. Like I said, you just, looking back at it, it is truly amazing. The other thing we had just done, we closed on the first of our 2 acquisitions in New England on December 19th. The flood happened on the 24th. So we had a brand new operation that we were just about to integrate, and then that comes on top of it. But, all is well. And we actually did our second acquisition in April and kind of put it all together. And, I have to say now, that incident was obviously, not anything you want to live through. But, I also think you can look at it as, you can take a bad situation and turn it into a positive. And everybody had a great attitude about it. Everyone worked together. And, here we are now. We decided to stay permanently at the Westmoreland Innovation Center. And we're, it's worked out great. We have a larger space. We have room for expansion. We're growing. And so, it's all good.
Well, someone has a question, but I'm going to follow up in a minute. Jonathan, what's the question that's out there?
Yeah, great question here, and good to see you, Teresa. I did not know about that story. That's crazy. So Joseph Burke wants to know, do you contract manufacture for companies outside of the U.S. for the U.S. market?
Yes, we do. Our customer base is across the U.S., and we do have some international customers as well. That is one of the areas that I would say is growing for us. So internationally headquartered companies that need to establish a U.S. presence or maybe have a presence, and they need to have a manufacturing presence within the United States. So yes, we have a couple of those examples.
Okay. And then Simon has one question, and then I want to jump back.
Yeah, so someone wants to know, so do you work with quasi-government manufacturing orgs like ARM at the Hazelwood Green or America Makes in Youngstown?
We do not. At this point, the kind of work that we do tends to, the products that we manufacture, as I said, are pretty technical. They typically require a significant investment to get up and running. So the customers that we engage with, we kind of need them to be long-term, and we also need a certain level of business to be able to really make the value proposition work for us and for them. So that aspect is not really part of our business model at this time.
Okay, that's great. Good question. So, before I get into COVID, what about, were you prepared, like with your insurance and your disaster recovery plan when this sort of went down in Christmas Eve?
We were. Yes, we were. And, looking back on that, don't underestimate the importance of both of those things. That's a great question. It's one of those things that, honestly, sometimes, you have business insurance and you have business insurance, you make sure, it kind of makes sense. It's maybe not something that you spend as much time on it as you should. But we fortunately, my CFO manages that. She's awesome. And so we had great coverage. She does a great job with that. And that worked out, very well for us. They were very supportive, and things, all kind of worked out. The kind of disaster recovery business continuity plan, we absolutely have one, still have one. And many of our customers kind of require that. And that's been good, right? So that ended up being a good thing for us. So we had it. We basically opened it up and we started following it. And, obviously the IT and, some of the obvious things are in, were in there. And, we had our IT recovered. We lost no data, never lost email. Everything was up and running very quickly. So yeah, don't underestimate the business continuity plan for sure.
Wow. So do you have in-house IT or do you
We do.
outsource it? You have in-house?
We do. Yeah, we have in-house IT. We work with partners as well. And, certainly we had, some IT equipment damaged and things like that. So our outside partners were great, expediting equipment to us and coming in and helping as well.
Insane. It's insane. I remember talking to you and then thinking, oh my God, now we're in COVID. So let's talk about COVID. So then COVID hits, you're all nestled and settled down. How has that affected you? How did that affect you? How did you not skip a beat?
Yeah, so I think, with COVID, when everything, first started as, with the COVID, with the pandemic, and I think the biggest challenge for us, and probably the same for everyone, was the uncertainty. It just seemed like, at the federal level, state level, local level, the regulations, different things were coming at you, and we weren't always sure what any of it meant. Fortunately, based on the products that we make, we were deemed essential, both here and in, New England. So, navigated through all of that. And so I think really, it's just one of those things where you got to be flexible. And so, we continue to operate because we have customers across different markets. Some of our customers, their business was impacted negatively by COVID. Some of our customers' business was impacted positively by COVID. And so because we cover a wide variety of markets, we were not negatively impacted to a significant level. So, we did all of the things, I'm sure that everyone's doing, implement all the extra cleaning protocols. We went to remote working as much as possible. We're still kind of on a hybrid model now for that. So, just kind of take it day by day. And again, I guess, I don't want to downplay COVID clearly, but with everything we were already through at that point, it's almost like, okay, yeah, fine. Just one more thing. Let's go, What
about the supply chain, the breakage of the supply chain?
Yeah.
How did that affect you? What did you see? What are you still seeing?
Yeah, great question. So, the supply chain was one of the things that was really uncertain for a while with COVID, especially, we are, manufacturing a lot of electronic products, which have components in them that most of the time come from Asia, China specifically in some cases. So there was a lot of uncertainty with the supply chain. Again, I'm going to, tell our team we have a great supply chain manager. Our team has great relationships. They were on top of it. They were ahead of it. Honestly, again, I'm going to say, in some ways our flood helped us because, when that incident happened, and we weren't 100% sure how much inventory might have been damaged, we actually went out and started buying parts in advance just to make sure we didn't run out. And so that kind of positioned us well as COVID hit too. We were kind of ahead of the game. And, just work with our suppliers. And we did not experience any significant disruptions to the supply chain through COVID. Little issues here and there, little hiccups. Right now, the global electronics supply market is getting tight very, very quickly. So we're starting to see lead times pushing out. Some parts aren't out. So, I think the next, 12 months are going to be tight from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm. So are there questions there, Jonathan?
Something similar that Volker's kind of asking about here wants to know how the pandemic has affected the electronics and electromechanical contract manufacturing market demand.
Yeah. So again, I think, some customers are up, some customers are down. I think one of the things that, we didn't necessarily see coming, but that we've, experienced is that infrastructure, right? And you guys probably have seen this, but anything having to do with building infrastructure, especially for connectivity, right? Everything is remote. We have online learning. So we have, we have customers that are in that space, and their business has just exploded, right? So even what you're seeing to some extent in the semiconductor capital equipment market, some of that is driven by that. And we have other customers that are in related markets. So, again, I think some are up, some are down, but infrastructure is big. Anything directly medical that is COVID related, is growing, is doing well. We do a lot of elective surgery type support that is down still. So, got some ups and downs, and just kind of have to see how it's going to play out. It should normalize once COVID normalizes here.
Mm-hmm. So is there another question, Jonathan?
Yeah, one more here, and I think we can get back. This is a pretty good question. So Simon Curtis again, With another question, wants to know, are there many companies like yours that provide customized manufacturing all over the United States? And do you have plans to expand beyond your current capacity?
Yeah. So the contract manufacturing companies, there are a lot of them out there, and they span anywhere from folks who do a very small amount of business, maybe sub $1 million, very small mom and pop shops, up to what we refer to as the tier ones, which are multi-billion-dollar companies that are global, typically doing iPhone type things, if you want to think of it that way. So in our space, kind of a mid-tier player, if you will, fully US based. There are other people, we certainly have other competitors out there. I think our value proposition, as I said, before, is obviously our culture and our focus on our customers. The other thing is that we have the capabilities of the larger kind of folks in our space, but the flexibility of the smaller folks in our space. So that's kind of, our value proposition. We do want to expand further. As I said, we have a New England footprint, Western Pennsylvania footprint. Those geographies, we added New England because that's a great geography with some great top tier customers. We certainly will look to expand to other geographies. At this point, we've got a few options that we're looking at, so I'm not sure exactly where that will be.
So you've mentioned all through this, and we know that you've talked about the culture at Intervala and what you've sort of harnessed and created. How would you capture that? And I want you to brag a little bit. She's not going to brag unless I poke at her. Brag.
What's your question, Audrey?
Why is it so great? Why do people love working there?
I don't know. I just think that, we're a very down to earth group of people. We like to work hard and play hard. We've always really kind of enjoyed each other, going out after some major accomplishment and, kind of celebrating as a team. We do a lot of special events with our employees. So COVID has been tough on that specifically, right? Because we're very relational. We love to, kind of do things together as a team, recognize achievements, all kinds of things like that. So, I think that, we just try to make it a place where, people feel good about what they do. We want people to understand the products that they're making and why they matter, why, if it's your family member who is having that cataract surgery, you need to make sure the product works for them. So, I just think, people inherently, I think, want to do a good job. I'm a believer in people. And so I think you give them the opportunity and you train them and develop them, and kind of let them go and just keep reminding them of the importance of what they do, and that, if the customer is happy and they succeed, that means we succeed, we have job security, we grow, all those things.
And so are you hiring right now?
Oh, yes. Yes. If you go to our website and click on the careers button on the top right-hand side, you will see a long list of positions. So we would love to be able to, hire some additional folks at both locations.
Good. All right. Well, we'll make sure that we'll put that link out there and let them know. And what do you think that we may have missed in this conversation? Is there anything that you want to say to the tech community about what it's like working here, what you think we should know about Intervala? Is there anything that perhaps you would like to add as we wrap up?
Yeah, so I guess I would say that, I'm going to key a little bit on the question about hiring. We're all about satisfying our customer, and to do that, we need the best people. So I think, we're growing. We have a great plan for the future. And so we would love to have more people join our team. I think in terms of the tech community and, just the folks in general, we're part of, the Pittsburgh region. There's a lot of, other companies out there as well. We do try to partner from a supply chain perspective and other services, regionally with people. So if there's someone out there that thinks that there's, something that they can, offer that we could help them with and partner together, please reach out to me.
Okay. Well, it's always great
Thanks.
to spend time with you, Teresa. It really is. You've been through one heck of a year plus 14 months. And I imagine that you're going to continue to soar. I know that it's hard for you to talk about yourself, but it's not hard for you to talk about your company. And that's what really matters. Really appreciate your leadership and your commitment to this work. And I can't wait to see what's next.
Great.
So if anyone wants to reach out to her, it's easy to find her. The link is out there for Intervala careers and also on intervala.com.
Right.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Really appreciate you spending the time with us.